Hello everyone, how's it going today? Thought I would start work on an alien mothership, and pretty complicated on what I'm thinking loosely in the design. Um, to start with, I kind of wanted to kind of do like a wire frame of it in blocks to get a general idea and see if the proportions work out according to what I loosely am thinking about it. So what I did here is I started with the pedestal again. Um, And this would be kind of the front of the ship here. And what I wanted to do is the first shape I want to establish is kind of a oval, more or less. So essentially it comes out here and it kind of curves around and then it kind of tapers off further back, but it gets wider before it tapers off. Um, so I figured I'd start there and see how it comes out proportionally. And I'm going to try to accommodate for like different angles when I'm doing this. For instance, what I want it to do here is be kind of roundish, so I'm doing like a 2 to 1 block ratio a little bit here. But then after it does that just a little bit, what I want it to do is then angle at a 45 for a little bit. And then switch over to this angle here. Try to kind of make a roundish pattern. As you can see, that's kind of almost like an Enterprise kind of front end right now. Um, but it's not going to stay that way. Start that way, but I don't know how big I want this thing yet. But I do plan on having it pretty big. I mean, it is going to be like a capital mothership kind of thing. Now, below the extensions here, now this is going to be kind of a lip, a little bit again like Star Trek, but below that there's going to be extensions that come out to the sides as well. And I fear I'm already gone a little too wide with this angle, but we can make it a little lesser, pretty easy. I'm trying to stick to odd numbers too in between breakups. So, for instance, now, if I wanted to start going the other direction with this round piece, I didn't want 4 squares in the middle. I wanted 5. Um, and it just helps with everything, so you can perfectly center stuff and whatnot. But on the sides here, I don't want them to curve back in the same as the front either. So I kind of want this to taper in, but slowly for a longer distance. So we're kind of getting shaped like this now. Um, Now on the front part here, just kind of try to figure this out too. Up in the very middle front, I think we want it to also go up at a 2-1 angle. So here, let's just do another row of blocks here and kind of build this up here to match that front row. And then do something like this. I know it looks awfully crude and blocky right now, but again, most of these will probably end up getting changed to some kind of angled block of some origin. But yeah, if you can get things established this way, which is very quick to do as opposed to trying to lay down all the correct blocks that are going to be there. And this is just so you can get the dimensions correctly, or, the shape you want before you actually put a lot of time and effort into it, because this can be easily changed. All right. So once the ship gets down to about this part, um, that's still pretty wide, which is good. I wanted some space in here. And it's going to continue on straight for a little while. And then I want it to actually start to curve back in after a little bit of time here. Let's go out another 5 blocks here. And this whole ship design is going to be unique from anything I've done before. It's the aliens. I'm trying to purposely be unique with things. Also, I'm kind of thinking about like even how I want the hangar on this, and want to change that around a little bit too. Where I'm kind of thinking this is like an invasion ship. So ultimately, I want it to have the means to quickly deploy lots of, especially SVs, at the same time. I don't know if that would ever make good use in gameplay or not, but who knows? Other than that, it would probably be pretty convenient for like a group of players. Okay, so this is like the primary start shape. And from here, I'm not sure if my taper is good yet or not, but we're going to just take this all the way to where it comes to a point. Now what I'm thinking is on these, where it sticks out over here, from underneath, I'm going to have some kind of extension, guns and thrusters over in that section. And then there'll probably be another thruster section for the rear thrusters, like down under over here. And as I see right now, yeah, it looks like it would have a lot of space inside this thing already. Almost to the point though where I want to kind of try to figure out this angle and how I'm going to do this. So yeah, I'm going to switch over to some other blocks for now. Now, there's two options I've got. I've got this set of the 22.5 degree angles, which I know will work. Then there's another set too. I'm going to try with this set first and see if I can get the results I'm looking for here. Okay. Now, so with this part here, what I want to do is, I guess I'm just following this through right now. A little, not very round yet though. There, let's just fill that in. I might have went too big with this. Okay, so at this point I want to start to change the angle. And I'm actually looking for are probably these right now. And then this other block here. So these are just 45s. Alright, so from there, then it can transition again and go back to the other angle. Okay, so that's kind of the first row. So now the next row up, I do want to have it start to do a different angle here pretty soon too. I don't know if I should do that on this row yet or not though. How would that even line up? Well, I guess we're going to go up another row here first. do believe this will make a pretty good armored front to the ship as well. Okay, so here, do some of those again. All right. Now, how do I get a different angle on the top section here? Well, what I'm thinking is, see how this would work. Probably would work, but I'm gonna have to put something in here first. A lot of these blocks might get blown away from the inside, obviously, too. Okay, so yeah, I think this was the right way here. Let's leave that one open for now. And these would be the traditionals. I almost like it, but this angle right here isn't quite what I was hoping for. How else could you make that work? Maybe it should come up there. No doubt it's going to be a pretty tricky build, though, especially to get these kind of shapes going. So I just blew away that, but, you know, I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't just put in a lip here instead. I kind of like that idea, too. What I mean by that is I'm pulling this row of blocks back one row here, for now at least. Maybe make it a feature where it does something here. I don't know about that either. Guess what I don't like is that right there. But how else can I work this to not have that? I don't think there is a way. Back how we were. And I think what the problem is here I would actually want to run this out one more block to that point. Let's just try this a minute. Alright, that's better. So I was kind of like one block off when I was doing this. Now I could bring all that forward and make it line up, or I can kind of leave it indented like that to see what happens. I kind of like that. I like these little lines over here. Maybe a nice spot to add some guns. later. So, I'll tell you what, how about this row? We will switch it so it comes out another block. If possible. Wouldn't be that shape at all either. Guess what I'm trying to do is figure out where this would line up to on the other side if it continued at the same angle. I think here. So if that was in the middle there, yeah, that would fit. Okay, so that actually is the right line up. And that kind of curves in that way. Tricky. Let's see what these will do for it. Okay, kind of works. Alright. Just kind of advance this a little bit more. Kind of like that a little bit. So, what if, here, I'm going to just hypothetically plan this a little bit better. I'm going to blow away a couple blocks. Just an easier way to potentially find the angle I wanted. Like that. And then this would extend out here. To there. This is a lot of why I try not to like draw things out or things like that when I'm doing these, is because you know, things, shapes and stuff you have in your head don't necessarily translate correctly to the block, so you have to improvise an awful lot. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. I like having these indentions in here because that could give some nice spots to add some, say, rocket launchers or the big pulse guns. On the front here, I did want this at a bigger angle though, so I'll let this be done. Let's see, do I want to keep on going one more row with this? Probably should. Missing something here though. There is another way to do this. Yeah, that could work. Should it go straight to a point like that? Actually thinking no. Try to round that off with these here a little bit. Yeah, let's have it make a little indentation right there too. And we'll change this one so it has a bit of a taper as well. Thin block, and then one of these new little half block wedges. Really thin block wedges. Okay, that kind of works. Okay, so kind of general right now. I also wanted to ask you, if you're watching this, what would you like to see in videos? I keep on trying to come up with projects and things and try to diversify a little bit. But some of these projects like this one, again, are going to be very, very long. So I don't want to like do like all of it on video, but I'm going to try to do a bunch of it on video, and I'm going to try to do some editing finally, and do a lot of it in high speed at least, so you can kind of see it get done a whole lot quicker than when I'm currently doing it. But I was just, of course, I'm always curious, you know, what kind of things would you find very helpful in building, or things that you didn't know, or things like that. Um, but yeah, I do try to focus a lot on doing things with blocks, so I come up with like new shapes and patterns and things like that too. That's kind of what I'm at here, but it's a little weird. It's not quite what I was thinking in my head so far. Not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just not quite the same. See, my intent actually was to have this come out over here, and then below this section, kind of protected from the top, I wanted to have like a bridge. And this is kind of like an overhang to some extent, and then kind of go up a little bit. Now this one I don't intend to have much in landing pads like the ships I normally do. That is another thing I kind of wanted to switch up a little bit. But it's going to have a big hangar and probably be considered a carrier, like a battleship carrier, something like the Persis sort of. The intent of that was for the HeCat carrier. That was pretty much all about just being a carrier. Of course, it's a lot cheaper that way. Here, let's grab some parts here. I want to see how will these big guns fit in here? And with these pulse lasers too, you can put on up to 6 of these on a CV. Kind of what I'm thinking here. Let me build a little bit of a housing here for it. So we had something like that there, and then I was also thinking here, get it deep enough in there, something like that. And technically, since you can have 6 of these, you could wrap another one around a couple more blocks over here. Let's try that. Tucked in just a little bit. Let's see. Does that look right, or is that too far in? No, it's pretty close. It kind of got the angle, so yeah, okay. Already would look kind of mean coming at you. There we go. So on this part here, I'm just kind of building it up, kind of a smooth thing, and I want to have this close back down again over here. Probably at the same angle it started with. I gotta figure out if they've got all of these. I've been using this set of these 3 blocks quite a bit too. I wonder if they're all on one page, nice and neat, because I hate going back and forth between pages. Okay. I kind of like keeping this indentation over here too. Make a nice little line kind of in the body at some point here. Gives you some neat texturing options too. Color. And this thing, for weapons too, it's also going to have rocket launchers. Those can go in a different spot. I don't have to be up here, but I do want to try to be mindful on a place to put them at some point here. Now on the sides here, kind of curious now if there's a way that these could be flattened out. I think there is. There are these blocks here that would stop it kind of half block up. And let's see, it went 3, and then it started to come down again. This might be too long too. I'm actually kind of looking at this end shape I did over here, and I'm kind of wondering if I trying to make this a little too big. Let me just, for reference, I wanted to try to keep it around the size of the Persis carrier. I just want to see how that is, how big that is sitting next to this real quick here. Oh, okay. So it's not as bad as I thought. It looked awfully big, but no, it's a little smaller yet. Good. That's perfect. So what to do with this chunk over here? It kind of builds up and then it just drops off. I don't know if I like that, but then you got the angle below it. Try something crazy here and try to go the opposite direction with this angle. Let's really try to switch it up and change this one to here. Yeah, that's kind of the look I was hoping for. Alright. Kind of leaving a slot there for maybe a set of rocket launchers or lights or something that could fit there. But now I got to think about these angles here too. Well, this is basically just one of the several different shapes and places I wanted to do on this ship. But this one's important. This is kind of like where everything else is going to attach to. So I guess I really wanted to get this part kind of, well, I won't say finalized, but shaped out pretty good before I actually even start on the parts that will connect to it. And yeah, that area, okay. So down here, we're at a 45 right now there. Yeah, this would work. Okay, so I wanted it to curve in if possible, like it is here. Which is kind of neat. So you got this slope, and then you've got a 45 5 slope. Oh, and I guess that's just matching it. Not sure if we want to do that either. Wait a minute. Let's go with this instead. Yeah, okay, so then we're changing the angle. To that. And these. I was thinking I'm going to leave that way. Maybe take some of these pulse lasers or fill that area in with rocket launchers and leave a slit there. Same thing over here. Yeah, whole point though is to try to keep this very smooth and roundish if possible. Okay, so now on these ends here, what actually can fit there? Yeah, okay, so then we go from that into this other angle again, which is starting to get the smooth line I was looking for. Or attempting to do, I should say. So now my only beef is how I got the tips here. Sometimes I do wish there were some more blocks yet. I know there's a lot of blocks already, but little things like if there was one of these that went to a half size, I think would be pretty cool. Probably not needed though, but I don't think anything else would work besides this wedge here though. Unless I took that and followed it through with this type. Yeah, actually I think that's a better plan rather than having the flat blocks here. Now looking at it, I realize I don't like this this part that goes up over here anymore. Well, anyway, okay, so now down here would be a cockpit, but not right away. So hold on, let me try to fill in around these launchers here. See how that comes out. Okay. I'm actually thinking these end launchers will probably end up leaving. good enough for now. Let's try to move forward here a little bit. And now angle this out a little differently here, where it still goes out from there, but at a different slope. Alright, so part of the other plan too was this section here. Why I made it longer is what I was thinking is some kind of almost like something that looks like a rib cage that kind of goes up across the sides and across the top. Now below this point here, I wanted it to kind of indent in a little bit and then have multiple side docks, I guess you could say, like maybe 3 or 4 on each side for quick deployment of a lot of SVs at one time. That would be kind of stretched under this section here. And then of course in between there you would have your hangar that would probably, the hangar door would start around here, and this would be kind of a lip over the back of that with like some thrusters and some other things like that. But I'm thinking now kind of what I want to do is try to figure out how these side thruster mounts are going to work out and where they should actually be at. So let's just do some basic blocking. That's a new word. Blocking. Tell your friends. Kidding. Alright. So what if it had something like that? And here I'm just going to fill this in for now. And then it came out into a pretty thick looking beam that's rounded. No, I want to go, yeah, like that. So we got, that actually was going 4. I don't want it 4, but, well, hold on. Let's go like there, and let's do more than one. Alright. That might work out. And this is going to be just kind of some regular blocks here to try to get a shape for this. I wanted to make these big enough, and I'm using a scale of 3 again because I plan on using these big thrusters, which are like a 3x3 by 6 or 8, I think, deep. So I might just try to see if I can pop in one of these thrusters a minute, see how that's going to fit up, and then build around it. One thought too was, should I bring these forward more? I kind of like the angle idea too. Okay, so that would be plenty enough for reverse thrusters. 2 of these big ones are quite a lot of thrust. Well, this is a pretty wide ship. How wide is that compared to this? You know, I don't know. It's weird. It looks really big when I'm working on it, but then looking next to like the Persis over there, of course, which is a Class 10 ship at this point, it's not that big. Just restocking here on some parts. Alright, so this thrust. Let's try to come up with an angle to work around this somehow. That is not going to be the right angle to be doing this with. Okay, so we're just got to do the 45s. Embrace a little bit of round here too. I've done this with my other stuff, so I'm trying to be unique. Didn't necessarily want to do the same thing, but that doesn't mean it can't look alien. All I'm thinking is I got that too forward. If it was more blocks than this, I would just do like a drop out of the symmetry and do a copy paste, but probably quicker just doing it manually on this. Just to be weird here, I wanted to break up the curve so I can try to get some of the alien themed little spiky things in here like this. Not sure if that's a great spot for it or not, but I don't know, might look alright. Get a little something done here with the back. Well, I don't know if I should even bother with that yet. Alright, how about the bottom here? So how big should this overhang be, and where should the cockpit area start? Just block fill in for now. start it up there, maybe. Might work a little bit. The road down at least. Alright. Kind of strange. Alright, so this was going to be a cockpit area. The first floor that could actually have glass would be here. And should I... That was another debate too, is what kind of glass. I know there's some really cool glass with the other stuff, but again, it's the angle thing that screws me up with. I was referring to those, you know, the other set of glass windows. They're nice, I like them, but in this case, I want to do something far more different across the front of this. And actually, it's a little too much glass. I don't want the whole front glass. I want to, I think, take it in one more row. And maybe at a slightly different angle again. Let me see if I can transition that angle to this angle. I think that can be done. Okay, that works out. So I like these kinds of curves for sure. When you're doing these multiple angles at once, it's pretty cool. You can actually pull off with voxels now, especially when you got a lot of shapes to work with. All right, so in glass on here, this is gonna be tricky. Actually, I don't think I want to start with. Oh man, there's not a lot of room in here either. Because I didn't realize I only left 3 wide now. That's not very much for a bridge. Huh. Or, well, what if the bridge was lower? It is alien. They kind of, well, hold on a minute. See if we can bevel the glass out somehow. Some tricky alignment. So I kind of wanted them right there here. We're just gonna put a temporary so I can put the part where I actually want it. And same kind of thing over here, I believe. No. so that's going to change. I got to reverse this. That isn't exactly what I had in mind, but I kind of like it in a way. I'll run with it for now and see how that actually comes out. What kind of view could you get from inside then? You know, if you were sitting here with the cockpit, and especially if there's some glass on the bottom side, you could be kind of tucked back, but get a pretty good view, I think. Let's make the floor here. Let's do like a temporary block row. And let me grab a part. Like a cockpit. Just wanted to get an idea on what kind of view you'd get from that position. Uh-oh. Probably shouldn't have done that quite yet. Yeah, no, actually it's pretty visible. You'll have to tint the windows differently and stuff, but it's not a bad view. No, I just lean the ship back. Whoops. Okay, in this kind of case, what I want to do is I'm going to want to reposition the ship a lot and things like that. So I'm going to set up a quick way so I can power this thing up and move it at will. I mean, maybe keep it floating in the air if I wanted to. So I'm just getting some thrusters and like one per direction, except I don't need to worry about the fronts currently. And let's see, we need up and down. These will all get blown out, so. And since it doesn't really care much about the physics, it doesn't matter that I got them all on one side. Be interesting if it did. It'd probably add a lot more complications to build, so I don't know if that would be more fun or not. Oh, and using these thrusters, I don't want that little generator there and there. Need some big ones. Okay, just a bunch of stuff there, and I thought I already had some fuel tanks. And we're gonna need some RCS. So up, down, left, right, front, back. Alright, so, yep, it's almost done. Alright, hey, look at that. Now we can level this thing off. And there. I'll just turn you back off. Okay, so now get a nice view at it there. think this might have some potential. Again, I never quite know how it's going to come out when you start these things, but I'm starting to like parts of the body at least. That's probably a good place to stop this at. Anyway, I'm going to continue to do work on it. What I plan on doing is recording all the work and then trying to get a video together of like going through like parts of this in high speed, and maybe I'll slow down and have some commentary on certain parts of it. But I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit, because I know as these big projects go on, it gets kind of, it's a lot to watch, and they take a long time. And a build like this, I expect it to be no less than 40-50 hour build, maybe more. It's hard to say. I don't even know yet. But before I go, a couple other updates. Now I finally named this. It's the Asteria Destroyer. Asteria, the wife of Perseus in the Greek mythology. So as this ship's kind of a pretty ship in comparison, it looks, it's a little more refined. Almost looks like a yacht in a way. I do have it finished now, and I actually have the proto version up on Friends Only on my workshop. And I plan on releasing this, I believe, tomorrow. I do need to take the screenshots and all that fun stuff yet, and I'm going to try to get a lot of that done today if I can. But yeah, it's got a bridge now and all the different parts tested for air. This whole floor is kind of more or less done up. Now I'm going to walk through and try to do like a final detail tweak as well on this, just to see if there's anything I can add to make it look prettier. This front area that was extremely hostile, it is hostile big time, but it's kind of neat if you can deal with the radiation. As soon as you walk in the door too, I mean, it's like it's slamming you. So I knew that was going to happen. But yeah, I've got some RCS, offline protection, gravity generator, warp core. In this ship, there's extra places to mount some more fuel tanks up here, and you could dump in a couple more RCS easy enough. And let's see. Then you got your two crew rooms. They're both a little bit different on color. I put in this little lounge thing on one side, but I left the other side open for now. I don't know what to put here, to be honest, and I kind of like to just leave some spaces for players to add what they want. Now this is a 7500 CPU compliant ship currently, and I did that on purpose, and that is by scrimping on the storage bay over here to 230K instead of 320. But what I did is in the back of this, and these are container extensions to that one, I left room so you can just pop in more, and especially if you blow this wall out, you can get this to 320K fairly easily after the fact. So it could be all the way up that way. Another thing too, I left this second big generator spot over here, and I labeled it T3, to add in like a T3 generator like what's on the other side. But honestly, the one powers this ship up fine with the shield installed. So I don't even know what you would need another generator in here for. So I might change this around a little bit, and it would fit a whole lot of fuel tanks in here, though, I tell you that much. So you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could get 6 of the big fuel tanks in that section currently. So a little more room for stuff. But other than that, I think it's about ready. I put it up as a prototype on my workshop for Friends Only, just to, if people find any problems with it or have any opinions or something that could get changed or something that doesn't work right now. But I think it's tweaked out pretty good. I did have to add a couple more RCS to the original design. Originally, when I dumped in the 2 advanced RCS that the ship had, the numbers screwed me up because I was looking at the stats and they were, pretty high on the yaw and pitch and everything. I'm like, holy smokes. But I didn't realize that they changed how these read at the time. And how the ship flies now, it's not, it's pretty good. Um, Fairly maneuverable for a capital ship. It reminds me much of flying like a typical SV around. Um, and I kind of like the first-person view on it too. Of course, you know me, I'm a first-person nut, but even third-person view, not bad at all. It turns pretty good. I won't say it's the sharpest turning ship around, but it's not bad at all. I think for its role as being like a destroyer, that's far cheaper than some of these other ships like the Perseus over there and the Nemesis especially. That it should work out pretty good. Now, one other thing I did over the last few days too is I don't have this done yet, but I did change around the interior. I kind of changed the cockpit a little bit. I realized I had to go up another row with the glass, and I've got this all kind of laid out. I just have to texture it yet. So I've got all the parts in, the lights. I got to color the lights, texture everything, but it's got all the storage set up in it, and this one needs both. Well, it needs ammo, regular storage, and then it also has harvest. So 3 different storage containers, plus some extra cargo boxes, plus every last thing I could possibly put into HV. You know, your Wi-Fi, it's got the shield up on the ceiling here, detector, air, fridge, cargo boxes, armor locker, pretty much everything, med stuff. So this one is really close to being done. In fact, I probably could finish it up in about a half hour at this point. Just getting that detailed and some LCDs in place and a couple sensors. But I plan on getting this one to my workshop as a prototype, kind of like what I did with the Gast SV ship. And then the miner and the other one are right behind it. I'm still working on the alien base. That's going to take a bit more. And if you'd like to see more tutorials on that, I have not dug into the interior yet, and that could make a pretty neat tutorial, I think, as well. So I just curious on your thoughts. Would you like to see more work done with the base? I know it was stretched on. It was already at like part 8, and it's still got a lot more to do. So anyway, y'all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll have some new stuff for you soon, like this ship here. All right, thanks a lot. See you later.